Over the years, I've struggled with acne, pretty bad cystic acne, some dandruff, redness, but a few years back, something happened that I couldn't explain. I started getting these like really dry, flaky patches like in this part of my face, usually around my mouth. And I went to the doctor to get it checked out to see what it was. And it turns out I have a condition called seborrheic dermatitis. The cause of it is unknown. It might be genetic, it could be environmental. Frankly, it doesn't matter. The issue is there. And it was just another challenge that I had to face. And it just got me thinking about all the sort of skin-related issues I've had throughout my life and thought, why not make a video about it? And hopefully it might serve you in one way. There's two main things I really want to cover in this video. The first being the practical stuff like habits and products and whatnot. And the second actually being social media. And I'll explain that when I get to it. So in 2020, after a major breakup, I attempted to completely change my lifestyle. The first really drastic thing I did was try to wake up every morning at 5 a.m. That was freaking hard. I cannot overstate that because contrary to popular belief, waking up early is not simply a case of like how strong or weak you are. There are some genetic factors that determine whether or not you are predisposed to want to wake up at that time. And I was not that person. I've always been a night owl my whole life. And I forced myself to regardless. I was under the impression that if I just stuck with it long enough, it would become easy after a while. And it just wasn't one of those things. It was always hard for me. I was on and off waking up that early. And my behavior was a little extreme, like I would forego social outings just so I could hit that goal of going to bed at 8:45, 9 o'clock every night. But the reason I bring this up is, one, not only because sleep is really important for your skin health, but two, it had a ton of other compounding effects that positively impacted my life and actually made this whole process much easier. Mind you, I'd like to preface this by saying this didn't happen right away. I would say it took about 3 weeks to a month for me to notice any actual difference with my complexion. Because you got to make a habit out of it and it takes time. And while using products is very helpful, sleep is kind of the foundational thing that just makes everything else way easier and way more effective. So in regards to the compounding aspect, I was getting up earlier, which meant I now had time and energy to exercise. When I exercised, I got hungry and I was motivated to eat food. And I know that sounds kind of odd, but everyone has a different relationship with food. I love going on a vacation, enjoying dishes as much as the next person. But when it comes to day-to-day life and work and things like that, I very much see food kind of like fuel. And when I get really locked into a project, like I'm in that flow state, the idea that I have to stop what I'm doing at 12 or 1 p.m. to go and eat and just break myself out of that is it's heartbreaking because I'm a pretty bad procrastinator. Anyways, I started eating better, which, made me perform work better. And I became more conscientious about what I was actually eating. A good rule of thumb when it comes to diet, especially in relation to skin, because the two biggest things are your sleep and your diet. Don't overcomplicate it. It's stuff you've heard before, fruits, vegetables, and then a few specific things like salmon, nuts, walnuts, avocado, seeds, olive oil. I love olive oil. That's okay, I got a little crazy with olive oil sometimes. I would just have a spoonful of it before bed. Bell peppers. I freaking love bell peppers. I've recently been improving my cooking skills, and anytime a recipe calls for bell peppers, I have a real hard time like slicing up the bell peppers and not just starting to eat them as they are. It's just, they're so good. I've gotten mixed signals on cheese. There's some studies that say that cheese is good for your skin. This is also a good time to bring up the fact that everyone's body is different and what they can consume is going to vary widely based on what your individual needs are. Personally, I freaking love cheese, but I've also been told that I eat too much of it, and that can cause higher cholesterol. So that's something that I try to steer clear of begrudgingly. Another major takeaway, if you don't listen to anything else in this video, please just go do your annual checkup. It is so great and gives me so much peace of mind to have a minimum baseline as to what is happening with my health, or like what I should be aiming for. Because sometimes if you're just like kind of going in blind and making assessments, like you don't know what is happening in your body. We don't always feel it through pain. So just go and get your checkup, like as a bare minimum. Apparently chocolate is also really good, like dark chocolate, which I personally love dark chocolate. But again, that's a whole sort of rabbit hole, right? Like you have your Hershey's bars, which aren't particularly, that's just a junk food. And then you have chocolates that don't have heavy metals, but you have too much of those. I guess it's just everything in moderation, right? So you can go down the chocolate route, but you know, your mileage may vary. I almost forgot the most important thing, okay? I can't stress this enough. Water, water, water. So the second major thing that I wanted to talk about was social media, specifically TikTok. Now, this can be extremely hit or miss because TikTok is designed to mirror the things that you are interested in. So for me specifically, I love lots of health, motivation, self-help content, things like that. So ironically, a lot of the things I was served were things that actually encouraged me to get off the app and go out and do things in real life. After 4 hours of watching it, of course. And that's why I'm saying it might be different for you. If you're someone who's really negative, or maybe you're obsessed with dogs, or you like acoustic guitar, you're not going to get the same things that are encouraging you down there. I mean, hey, maybe you find a cool concert as a result of that. But if we're talking specifically about health-related stuff, here's where I'm going with this. Around early to mid 2023, I started getting these male model memes, alliteration. And for those of you who've watched a few of my videos before, you already know that I'm a bit of a little monster, a Lady Gaga stan, if you will. So TikTok basically hacked my brain and found the perfect content specifically catered towards me. And it was male models walking down the runway set to Lady Gaga music. And the reason why I liked this so much was because it sort of gave me a nice, like, gauge of what I should be aiming for energy-wise. Like, you have these good-looking men who are filled with this kind of like positive energy in the way that they carry themselves, and their skin obviously looks really healthy. So that started to kind of rub off on me, and it became less of a chore to take care of myself and more of a like, oh, this feels really cool. I discovered looks maxing, okay? Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to get into all this sort of negative stuff associated with looks maxing because that's not really useful to us, and that is like, okay, yeah, you can go to the extreme, and there are people who think their entire existence is defined by their physical appearance. Whatever. I mean, you can only change it so much. It is what it is. The point I'm trying to emphasize here is that you had men in a very roundabout way uplifting other men, like being good examples and encouraging one another to espouse healthy habits. So let's just continue down that track, shall we? As far as actual products go, the first thing, the most important thing, the most practical thing, besides the sleep and water, sunscreen, sunscreen, sunscreen. There is no excuse in 2025 to not have sunscreen. You cannot claim that you're going to walk out into the street and look like a mime. Sorry, buddy, that's not an assault against you. As long as you are looking for a broad spectrum SPF 30 plus, I use SPF 50. Wear that every day, whether it is sunny or overcast. Sometimes you can get more sunburn in the overcast, so just, you know, keep that in mind. Number 2 is have some kind of cleanser. Doesn't really matter. Like, there's CeraVe, just something that is made for the face. You don't want to use like regular soaps because they can be very harsh. Your skin is super delicate. Get something that is made specifically for washing your face, cleansing it, because we get all kinds of dirt, we touch it, our pores get clogged. Right now I use a cleanser from Clarins, so if you want to try that you can, or just get something, anything. And if it sucks, that's your cue to move on to the next one. That's how this stuff works. You just try things until you find the items that are best personalized for you. So after you wash your face, well, I guess I should preface, you shouldn't put sunscreen on and then wash your face. That sunscreen goes on at the end. You don't want to wash it off. It defeats the whole purpose. After you cleanse your face, you want a moisturizer. And that's going to depend largely on how oily or dry your skin is. Some people have oily or dry, and some people have oily and dry, but in different parts of their face, which I'm in that camp with you. I'm sorry, it sucks, I know. So moisturizing is good. And then this next one, optional. I've started using retinol. If you look at my face, you can see that I have acne scars from high school. And I keep telling myself that if I take this retinol every day, eventually those will start to even themselves out. But really what it does, more or less, is give me a little bit of a better glow. So yeah, you don't have to use that. It is an option if you're willing to try it. I also use an under eye cream from Clarins. I tend to have dark circles under my eyes, and so I want to just kind of like make this part of my face a little more enthusiastic looking, positive looking, okay? I don't always want to look like I just crawled out of a basement, even though, you know, comments have told me that I film in grandma's basement. Okay, whatever. The last thing, and I'd say this really isn't optional, is you want to have a good lip balm. Bonus points if you get one that has UV protection as well. Our lips tend to get dry and chapped. Right now I use Aquaphor. I've used Carmex before. I like both of them. Carmex is a little, I don't want to say abrasive, but it's a little stronger than Aquaphor in my opinion. So use either one of those or a different brand, whatever works best for you. Those are the items, but the last couple things I want to talk about are a bit more ephemeral, a little more mindset related. This one is easy to do, but not so easy to feel at times, and that's just to smile more. Remember when I was talking about those male models earlier on TikTok? There was this general enthusiasm that they were expressing at all times. And maybe you're not at a point in your life where you feel very enthusiastic about a lot of things. I can totally relate to that. But if you can search for the silver lining, I want you to look up that term, silver lining. Find the silver linings in your life, and I want you to really smile about those things because they're great. They truly are great. You know, life in general is a pretty difficult thing for every person, no matter what position in life they're in. I don't care if they're, you know, doing really poorly or like broke, or even, you know, there's like some billionaire kids who are just miserable. What I'm trying to point out here is that there are some silver linings, some good aspects of your life, and if you can really attach to those, it will improve not only your physical appearance, but your mindset. Like, kind of going back to the compounding thing, the more good that you can sort of like mush together, the better of a human being you'll be. Even if it's maybe a little fake at first, eventually you just want to kickstart the car. Imagine that your vehicle is stuck in mud and you got to get that back right tire out of the mud. That's what we're doing here. And as soon as you get moving, then you won't fake it anymore. You're like, okay, I have something to be excited about. I'm smiling now, which is great. This kind of goes hand in hand with smiling, and that's humor. All right. Not everyone is a creative person per se. It's something that I've always gravitated towards. I'm not a comedian, but I like film and acting and all these sorts of things. And funny enough, one of my close friends just got into comedy. Like, he learned how to write. So the reason I'm saying this is that if you don't feel like you're a funny person, if you're just not that confident, that's okay, because those are skills. You know, there's this comparison that's often made that attractive people have it much easier because they don't have to be funny, or they're just naturally funnier because they're perceived as being funnier. It may be true, but it doesn't really matter because the option to actually practice the skill is still there. So give yourself a fighting chance and, you know, try to be a funny person. Like, don't be afraid to crack a joke. And if it doesn't land, oh well, big deal, whatever. If someone doesn't want to talk to you because you weren't funny or you came off as creepy or something like that, take that as a note, as a lesson, maybe try to make an adjustment the next go around and just move on from it. I know that's easier said than done. Like we're getting into the territory of rejection now. But you just gotta try it. The goal here ultimately is to switch the mindset from pessimism to optimism so that we can reduce stress, because stress is also something that ages us. And it's not something that can just be, wished away. Like there's no cream that's going to get rid of your stress. Maybe there is, and I don't know about it. If you can find the positivity, reduce your stress, then we're on the right track. Sleep will make a big difference with that, I will say. It's a cool little hack that I try to do. So what are we told? We need to drink like 8 glasses of water a day, right? So if I'm waking up at 5 a.m., and you can adjust this based on your hours, and I'm going to bed at approximately 9, I'm getting 16, 17 hours. So 16 hours, I need to drink 8 glasses. So that means drink 1 glass every other hour. So you just count. You wake up at 5, have your water. At 7, have water again. You just go through that. That way you don't have to really like, man, did I drink 5 glasses yet? You just go through it that way. I hope all of those tips were useful for you, the products that I mentioned. And really, we're just aiming to be better people at the end of the day. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.